Hello everyone, and welcome to the second part of the ultimate algae battle. This stubborn old algae. Yeah, and also the fourth episode of Fix It Friday. Now you see here, there's still quite a bit of algae. This is about where we left off last Friday for the first part of the ultimate algae battle. This was after the first cleanup, initial cleanup. And a nice water change. Still a lot of particles in the water. The plants are actually showing a little bit, not just consumed by all that algae. The aromatica doing alright. Now the Riccia just fell apart. It looks like it's not doing too well. I don't think it liked my Excel that I ended up spraying all over. It might have been a little sensitive to it. But I ended up loosening up a little bit more. Did another 90% water change the next day, just to try to get as much algae out as possible, because that's the first initial key factor to trying to outdo this crazy algae. I'm getting a little crazy with the camera there. Don't know what I'm doing. We got it all filled back up. Fish are doing good even after all these heavy water changes. Nice thing about being a saltwater tank, you don't have to worry about excess chlorine, chloramines building up on you or anything else. You know you're actually putting in good pure water that you don't have to worry about any buildups. But as you can see, there's still quite a bit of algae left. It's mostly algae that's stuck to the substrate, because that algae is just a pain to get off the substrate, and you don't want to throw all that substrate away either, especially if the Eco Complete's not the cheapest. And the thing is, the algae will end up dying off of the substrate eventually anyway, so it'd be pointless to throw it away. But you can see there's some color, some life coming out of the plants where you can see the green and everything. Fish are lively. Riccia is still alive. Nice water circulation at the top. That's always good for a planted tank. So when you get that surface agitation, you don't want to do it to the point where you're oxygenating the water and outgassing the CO2 so much. Even though I run airline and CO2 in oxygen tanks. I also did end up blacking out the tank for a little while. I think I did that for a day or two, just to kind of help kill the algae a little bit. I didn't want to do it too long because I wanted the plants to grow, and it's hard for me to get the plants to grow if I don't have light. Good thing is I was able to fert it too. Now we got a different view going on here. Got the old tripod set up. But after I ended up having the blackout period, I'm like, man, I'm going to have to go to a little more extreme measure, and decided to go ahead and pull all the bushes out and all the plants out and literally comb through them and scrape all the algae off and pull all the algae off each one of them. Now you notice there I'm just lightly doing it. So I just kind of run my fingers over it, not really tugging or pulling, just letting it do its thing, like falling off. Go through all the roots and rhizomes and just pluck away at it. And if any leaves are loose, then just pluck them off as well. If you got to tug on it to pull it off, then you don't really want to pull them off. But there was a lot of plants to go through on this, and this is about the only way. Like I said, it was just got to get rid of as much algae as possible at this point. And I mean, this is almost ground zero. I mean, it's close to resetting the tank. But at the same time, at least I'm not losing all these plants and all these species. That would have been terrible. So let's speed things up here a little bit. Turbo boost! Cleaning, cleaning, cleaning. Working, working, working. Now boost! Alright, now back to speed here. I did want to give you guys a side view of kind of how I was cleaning these bushes. As you can see there, I just kind of just pulling on the plants a little bit. That one leaf came right off. The algae's just sliding right off of there. And you can feel it too, the texture on your fingers when you're sliding and pulling and picking all that algae off of there. And as you can see on the side view, there's a lot more that's showing too, as far as how covered it was and how much is coming off of it. A lot of dead roots there, dead parts of rhizomes, which all that's just pretty much algae food. So it's really important to get rid of all that dead decaying material, all that debris, because algae just loves to cling on it. So you can literally see that these plants were getting strangled by this algae. I'm pretty sure I had a lot more I had to go through here, so let's turbo boost. Okay, now that I got a bucket full of bushes, all the plants out of here, there's some other kind of plants in there too. I'm going to stir up all the substrate and break up as much of that algae as possible. And then right after that, I'm going to do a water change and get as much out as possible. Alright, so let's begin this mess. It's time to break up all that algae off that substrate that just did not want to come off. As you can see here, I'm just kicking up dust, giving the mother love, you know. This is how we have to do it in the fish room sometimes, man. Days get rough. We gotta do what we can. Look at that mess. It's gonna be good to get all that out of this tank though. You can see on that power head there, it's just already clogged up pretty much. I mean, it's barely pushing that ratio around the tank when that ratio is just doing laps. Alright, so to save us all time, let's stick it into high gear here. Alright, now that I got that all broken apart, it's time to start pulling this water out. And it's definitely a muddy mess. Like always, I still got the fish in there. You can see how much I'm pulling out there. All that algae that broke off that substrate. Make a little dirtnado. Help pick it all up. Try not to suck up some fish. That's probably the hardest part about this. Is when it's so murky like that, it's really hard not to suck up a fish. So you got to be focused on doing the task at hand when doing this. Now for that fact, it was hard to see them. I did only do that much just to get the bulk of that algae out. So since I had that filter in there, I ended up cleaning that filter off and just kind of let the dust settle. And now that it's the next day and the dust has settled, I can see better on the bottom now and be able to clean up all that excess algae without having to worry about sucking up a fish. As you can see, all the fish are doing good too, despite all that moving around and whatnot. It's kind of like a storm in the wild, and they've actually got a really good color. Bring you guys closer to the fish here and show you. But the colors are looking pretty good on the fish, so they're not minding one bit. They're probably liking all that fresh water. So I still got a little work to do. Cool sparkling gourami there. Yeah, flashing them colors. Blue like tetra. Peacock goby showing off a little bit. Bloodfin tetra, he wants to escape. He's the only one in there though, so that's probably why. I got some buddies for him in the garage I actually need to put him together with. So now I'm going to change the water again. Probably do a pretty big water change again. I'm not sure how much, maybe 75%. We'll see. Maybe less. Oh, one thing I always forget that you should always remember is to unplug your heater and your pumps. Filters hang on the banks, not so much, but water pumps and heaters are good to unplug. I do siphon my water. It may not be glamorous, but hey, it gets the job done and it works really well. Looks like I got some near ice and assassin snails in here too. I didn't know I had those in here. And I don't want to suck up very much substrate, because it's kind of pointless to suck up substrate if you're going to kill the algae anyway. That way you keep all your substrate, and I mean, it looks bad now, but I only get the stuff that's kind of just loose, not the stuff that's hanging on. Once I get everything off top, I'll more than likely stir it all up and try to get a little more. At this rate, looks like I will probably be doing a pretty big thing. Should get a bigger hose. Get a little more velocity to pull some of this Diatris up. And always want to get stuff off the pump, which I'll take that off and clean it off too. I did that last night actually. That way it helps clean everything out of the water after your water change. Sounds like my pump's crying. Man, like a sick goat. But it's working. That's important. Whoa, fish, watch out. Well, hanging out in this corner here. Last spot I need. Alright, I can stir it up a little bit. The only thing is, if I got a bigger hose, I'd have to... I wouldn't get as much time to clean. Alright, I'm going to stir it up a bit. Still got a lot of that rock. You can see a lot of that rock coming up now. It's going to make for an interesting landscape. Don't know how I'm going to work with that yet. Because I ain't picking it all out, that's for sure. The thing bad about this is when it gets real cloudy and those fish dart pretty quick. Sometimes they don't realize which way they're heading. So you definitely got to be on your toes and you got to be quick. Definitely getting up a lot of algae and organics. I put the floating plants and reishi in here too to try to help absorb some of this. So now hopefully after this deep clean it'll help balance it back out. Now worst comes to worst, if I really had to, I'd take all the substrate out and dry it completely and just rehaul. But that takes a lot of work and I'm trying to do as less work here as possible. But since it's such a tough algae, who knows? Hybrid monster algae. Some ear relief from that pump. I spoke too soon. That just sounds like it's had some bad beans. There we go. See if I can get my hose on it just right. Whoa, whoa, watch out, fish. Watch out. Whoa. Uh-oh. They're getting brave now. Alright, that should probably be, well, I got a little more. Sure. Right, get out of here. I try to stay away from that corner too, because that's where fish get lodged in a lot, and it's hard to escape if you're in that corner. So you want to give yourself a left or a right to go to. Because they'll come in on that back end of that corner and surprise you. Whoa. Sometimes I'll tap on the glass too and it kind of scares them away. It's like a warning, but sometimes they just won't listen. Alright, now I got it emptied. I gotta fill it back up. I was thinking about adding substrate today, but I've put potassium and carbon in my bucket with my bushas and all my plants in there, and they're dark anyway, so the plants are getting fed. The water's a little different, so hopefully they'll throw that algae off and actually clean a lot of the algae and kill a lot of that algae before I put these plants back in. But what I'll do is I'll wait till the dust settles again, and tomorrow I'll add extra substrate on it. Because, I mean, it looks like there's a bit there, but I got it pushed up against the glass. There's really not much substrate in it. So tune in next week to see what happens next. For now, here is the Airstone hack. Quick and easy. Alright, so I got a quick hack for you here. Now I usually use these plant anchors to weigh these down because they're not usually heavy enough to just sink at the bottom. They'll rise up when air gets in there. So I usually wrap a couple around there, but since I've only got one left, I do have these sinkers. So I can just take my sinker, and you could also use fishing line, quilt line. Now if you're a fisherman, you may have those hanging around. Heck, if you really had to, you could just tie a rock to it. That way it could even blend in with the decor if the rock was similar to what you had in the tank. So now I got that one. I had another one, and of course it ran away from me. Oh, there it is. If that was a meatball, you would have probably thought somebody sneezed the way it rolled away from me. Alright, now I got two on there. That's good to go. Just wrap it up. That will definitely keep it down. So that's a quick, easy way to get around that problem. As always, subscriptions are free. Thanks for watching, and if you liked it, hit that like button.